Do you know there is only an Islamic state that is a nuclear power as well as standing between two other powerful states, India and China? But did you ever know how controversial the past has been since its genesis? Get ready for a roller coaster ride into the dark corners of history. It's time for Pakistan Exposed, malicious atrocities you won't believe. So, let's get started. Britain abandoned its colonial rule over South Asia in 1947, leaving a legacy that cut beyond national borders. The process of creating the two massive states of Pakistan and India by drawing lines on a map was purportedly motivated by religious boundaries. However, the consequences of this split would be much more complex than a simple geographical choice. There was a quiet quake when the ink on the dividing lines dried. Generations-long communities found themselves on opposing sides due to the new geopolitical reality, upending their way of life. The map's religious boundaries could not adequately capture the subcontinent's intricate culture, social, and economic ties. The birth of India and Pakistan was not just a geopolitical event, but a seismic shift that altered the destinies of millions. The subsequent years would witness migrations, displacements, and communal tensions as the two nations grappled with the aftermath of a hasty separation. The scars of partition, etched in the collective memory, would shape the identity and politics of these nations for decades to come. Britain's imperial exit from South Asia in 1947 is more than a historical event. It's a tale of the human cost of drawing lines on a map, unraveling lies, and intertwining fates in a narrative that continues to echo through the generations. The Muslim-majority territories in the northwest and northeast gave rise to the countries we now know as Bangladesh and Pakistan in the complex fabric of South Asian history. The British intended this geographic division to reduce religious tensions and offer a reasonable answer to the heterogeneous spiritual environment. But the expected unity never came to pass. The separation created the conditions for deep disagreement rather than togetherness. Unintentionally, the stage was prepared for a sequence of events that would plunge the area into conflict and raise the terrifying possibility of attempted genocide. In their attempt to navigate the complexities of religious diversity, the British unwittingly sowed the seeds of future strife. The geographical separation, intended as a solve, evolved into a catalyst for historical upheaval. The repercussions of this partition would echo through time, marking a tragic chapter in the tumultuous journey of South Asia. The unintended consequences of this division serve as a poignant reminder of the intricate interplay between geography, politics, and the complex threads of human history. Following the violent division of Pakistan in 1947, the Dominion of Pakistan was formed, encompassing both West and East Pakistan. At first, their common Muslim faith served as a unifying force, but underlying tensions erupted. The vast physical divide between West and East Pakistan was home to different linguistic, ethnic, and cultural landscapes and unique locations. The discriminatory practices against the Bengali majority grew more blatant as the Dominion progressed. The widespread prejudices that favored West Pakistan affected every aspect of life, including politics, education, and the armed forces. A sea of institutional negligence submerged the hopes and voices of the East. The discontent among the Bengali population simmered and intensified due to years of marginalization. The once shared dream of a united Pakistan began to fracture along linguistic and cultural fault lines. The struggles for equality and recognition reached a boiling point, setting the stage for a tumultuous chapter in the subcontinent's history. Amidst the shadows of discrimination, the narrative of Pakistan took an unforeseen turn. The seeds of dissent sown in the disparities between East and West would ultimately bloom into a struggle for independence, forever altering the course of the region's history. Tension and discord characterized Pakistan's political environment in the turbulent years preceding 1971. The Awami League, a political organization under the dynamic leadership of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was leading the charge in the autonomy movement. Their demand for more autonomy for East Pakistan was evident in their cause. The beloved Sheikh Mujibur had a democratic approach in mind to alleviate the grievances of the Bengali community in East Pakistan. The Awami League promoted more self-governance and the preservation of Bengali culture to promote a peaceful resolution. But their hopes were dashed by the repressive tactics of the Pakistani government, which was led by a leadership that was determined to consolidate control and stifle the unique character of the Bengali people. The struggle for autonomy was not merely a political brawl, it was a battle to preserve the cultural richness of East Pakistan. The Pakistani government, driven by a desire to exploit the region's abundant resources, sought to stifle the unique character of Bengali culture. This clash of ideologies set the stage for a protracted conflict that would ultimately escalate into a full-fledged war. As the Awami League persisted in their peaceful endeavors, the Pakistani government responded with resistance and aggression. The simmering discontent erupted into a violent confrontation as the government attempted to quell the demand for autonomy forcefully. The plight of the Bengali people became increasingly dire, with their cultural heritage under threat and their political aspirations met with brutality. The Awami League's struggle for autonomy unfolds against political intrigue, cultural preservation, and the unyielding spirit of people determined to chart their destiny. In the face of adversity, Sheikh Mujibur and the Awami League became the torchbearers of a peaceful movement that sought to secure a rightful place for East Pakistan within the broader framework of a united but decentralized Pakistan. Yet, the resistance from the Pakistani government foreshadowed the tragic events that would later unfold, culminating in the struggle for independence and the birth of Bangladesh in 1971. In 1970, a pivotal movement unfolded in the trajectory of Pakistani history, marked by severe flooding and a devastating cyclone that laid bare the inadequacies of the government's response. As nature unleashed its fury, the Pakistani government, under the leadership of General Yahya Khan, found itself grappling with the aftermath of a natural disaster that exposed its weaknesses and incompetence. The calamities of widespread flooding and a destructive cyclone served as a litmus test for the government's ability to manage crises and respond effectively to the needs of its citizens. However, the administration's shortcomings became apparent as it struggled to provide timely and efficient relief, leaving a trail of devastation. Amidst the recovery efforts, the year 1970 witnessed a significant democratic milestone, with the holding of the first democratic elections in December. The Awami League emerged victorious in a landslide, reflecting the public's resounding demand for change and a new national direction. However, the response from the Pakistani authorities, led by General Yahya Khan, dealt a severe blow to the democratic process. In a surprising turn of events, authorities' refusal to concede defeat ignited a political crisis. This denial of the legitimate election outcome planted discontent, fueling a turbulent period in Pakistani history. The stark contrast between popular mandate and government obstinacy deepened tensions, setting the stage for Bangladesh's 1971 Declaration of Independence. The pivotal events of 1970 exposed the fragility of democratic institutions and highlighted the repercussions of a government ignoring the will of its people. The dark chapter of Operation Searchlight began in March 1971 when a concerted attack on important East Pakistani cities took place. The mission's evil goal was evident: to destroy the Bengali leadership and put a stop to the growing independence movement. This signaled the start of a horrific genocide that would leave a lasting effect on the history of the area. Mass executions marked the beginning of the systematic campaign of violence, a cold-blooded tactic designed to eliminate not just political personalities, but also intellectuals, professors, and those thought to have the ability to lead the resistance. The extent of the violence was indicative of a calculated effort to destroy any organized opposition to the governing authority. As the execution squads moved methodically through major urban centers, the air became thick with fear and despair. The targeted killings were not merely a means of eliminating political adversaries, but a calculated assault on the very fabric of Bengali society. The loss of intellectuals and academics dealt a severe blow to the region's intellectual capital, intended to undermine the capacity for organized resistance. The lasting impact of Operation Searchlight's genocide in March 1971 echoes through collective memories. It was a pivotal moment in the quest for independence, where oppressive forces sought to silence voices of self-determination. Despite the brutality, the people's resilience prevailed, and the echoes of that dark period continued to underscore their victorious quest for freedom. In the aftermath of a brutal crackdown, Sheikh Mujibur, undeterred, declared the independence of Bangladesh. Despite his subsequent arrest, the Bengalis, now identified as the Mukti Bahini, forged ahead, engaging in guerrilla warfare against the Pakistani military. This marked the onset of a conflict that would escalate, unleashing widespread massacres and gender-based violence upon the Bengali population. The indomitable spirit of the Bengali people emerged prominently as they fervently fought for their freedom. The suffering and resilience exhibited by Bangladesh during its liberation war in 1971 serve as a poignant reminder of the repercussions that unfold when geopolitical decisions are made without a comprehensive understanding of the cultural. The conflict not only exposed the vulnerabilities of a nation, but also highlighted the profound impact that geopolitical decisions can have on the lives of ordinary people. As the Mukti Bahini waged guerrilla warfare and faced unimaginable hardships, the conflict took a toll on the social fabric of Bangladesh. Massacres and gender-based violence left scars that lingered long after the war had ended. The events of 1971 underscore the importance of informed decision-making in global affairs, emphasizing the need to consider the human cost of political actions. Bangladesh's struggle for liberation remains a poignant chapter in history, echoing the enduring lessons that arise when geopolitical decisions intersect with the rich tapestry of a nation's identity. The international community was caught off guard as a surge of violence swept through Bangladesh in 1971, giving rise to a crisis that would resonate deeply across the region. The event sent shockwaves through global communities, demanding immediate and widespread attention. The relentless nature of the violence escalated the situation, with consequences extending well beyond the borders of Bangladesh. The impact of the crisis was most notably manifested in the form of an overwhelming refugee influx. The sheer magnitude of the violence forced a large number of people to flee their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries and beyond. The refugee crisis reached unprecedented proportions, capturing the world's attention due to its scale and urgency. In the face of escalating violence and mass displacement, the world grappled with the complexities of a crisis transcending Bangladesh's borders. This situation emphasized the global interconnectedness of affairs, necessitating a coordinated international response. The problem served as an emblem, urging nations to unite and address humanitarian emergencies with empathy and collaboration. During the tumultuous events, India stood out as a pivotal participant in the unfolding crisis. Confronted with an overwhelming surge of refugees, predominantly comprising Hindus, fleeing the strife-laden landscapes of Bangladesh, India assumed a central role in international initiatives aimed at migrating the burgeoning humanitarian catastrophe. The sheer magnitude of the refugee crisis imposed a formidable challenge on the nation, necessitating swift and decisive action along the astute diplomatic maneuvers to avert further deterioration. As the flood of displaced individuals streamed across the borders, India grappled with the urgent need to address the pressing humanitarian concerns. The crisis demanded a compassionate response to the plight of the refugees and strategic measures to alleviate the strain on resources and infrastructure caused by the unprecedented influx. The Indian government found itself navigating a delicate balance between providing immediate relief to those in dire need and formulating a diplomatic strategy to rally support from the international community. In grappling with the multifaceted crisis, India's pivotal role highlighted its commitment to addressing immediate humanitarian needs and fostering regional stability. The scale of the challenge underscored the necessity for a comprehensive, coordinated approach, positioning India as a key player due to its geographical proximity and dedicated efforts to alleviate suffering. As India confronted the refugee crisis, the intricate geopolitical dynamics intensified the challenges. Seeking solidarity from the global community, India endeavored to garner support against Pakistan's actions in Bangladesh. The international response proved heterogeneous. The Soviet Union swiftly aligned with India, juxtaposed against China and the Islamic world, staunchly supporting Pakistan. Meanwhile, the West grappled with internal divisions, torn between official alliances and a prevailing public sentiment favoring Bangladesh. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi embarked on a rapid diplomatic tour in this geopolitical maelstrom, navigating through key capitals such as Moscow, Washington, D.C., and London. India's diplomatic efforts under Gandhi's leadership aimed at strategically eroding support for Pakistan. The delicate dance of diplomacy sought to secure international endorsement for the intervention in Bangladesh, while delicately avoiding the potential escalation of a broader conflict involving major global powers. The conflict reached a critical juncture when Pakistan, interpreting India's actions as aggression, launched a preemptive strike on Indian air bases. This escalated into a full-scale war, with Indian forces strategically responding to cripple Pakistan's military capabilities. The joint efforts of Bangladeshi and Indian forces resulted in a remarkable campaign, swiftly reclaiming territory and recapturing Dhaka. However, victory came at an overwhelming cost. In the war's final days, we witnessed a surge in massacres orchestrated by retreating Pakistani forces, aiming to inflict maximum damage. The brutality extended to the deliberate targeting of intellectuals and professionals, a sinister effort to eliminate potential leaders in the developing nation. As the dust settled, the true extent of the violence became painfully apparent, leaving an enduring impact on the social, economic, and demographical landscape of the region. The aftermath of the Bangladesh genocide revealed a harsh truth, marked by the mass targeting of ethnic leaders, extermination of Bengali males, and persecution of Hindu minorities meeting genocide criteria. Despite the recognition, accountability proved elusive. Contested death tolls emphasize the tragedy's complexity. Lingering consequences endure in social trauma, economic setbacks, and rising crime. Prosecution efforts and holding Pakistan accountable faced limited success. The Bangladesh genocide, despite its intensity from March of December 1971, faded into forgotten 20th century atrocities. This sad reality highlights that the gravity of a crime doesn't guarantee justice or remembrance for its victims, serving as a poignant reminder of historical intricacies shaping today's world. Share your thoughts, and remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more terrifying truths.